as always. Guys, we are here in Bill Gray's in Rochester. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate it. Thank you. I am very happy that I've been nominated by the Libertarian Party for the governor's race. This is our third time. You guys are crazy. It's true. But I'm not sure who's crazier, me or you. I appreciate your confidence in me trying to make this happen. It is going to be challenging. And I know some of you are concerned about how challenging it's going to be. Rightfully so. This will be challenging. Challenging to get on the ballot, challenging to get the votes we need, challenging to get the matching funds. It will be challenging. But here is what I promise you. The same thing I've been promising you in the past, which is no one will outwork me. That I will promise you. I've gone to every single county in this state, all 62, every year for the past 8 years. That won't stop. I'll keep going. I will be in front of you all like I do all the time. And every single time you guys have seen me, every time it's the same. It is me live with no notes. Whatever I tell you, I will tell anybody else. Some of you are happy with what I'm saying, some of you aren't. But you will know how I feel and where I am. That you'll always get. Not just that. We have people who have sent me, some of the people told me this. They said, Larry, I voted for you in 2018 or 2022 for one important reason. Because you answered my question. And that's what I always do. When you hear the Democrat Republican yell, and if it's going to be Kathy Hochul or whoever, whatever sacrificial lamb the Republicans bring up, whatever that person will be, they will say the same thing. I have a problem. My energy bill is too high. My housing is too high. My education is too high. My son or daughter left. My grandma left. My granddad left. They're going to go, other guy bad. That's what they're going to say. The Republicans are going to go, that's the evil socialists in Mamdani or whatever they're going to say, Kathy Hochul. They're going to yell that. And the Democrats are going to yell, it's evil Trump. He's destroyed everything. He's the worst thing in the world. That's what they're going to tell you. But they're not going to give you an actual plan. Why does that matter? You might say, Larry, I don't like all your plans. I mean, you should like them all. But okay, you don't have to. Say you don't like one or two of them. Great. Here's the issue. When I'm on that debate stage, they will have to talk about plans. They must. And you can see it already down Mamdani in New York City. A lot of people don't like Mamdani. I get it. But he is talking about transportation. He's talking about free buses. He is talking about that. So now someone's got to have an answer for free buses. You may not like his answer, but you got to have one. And they don't have one. That's why Mamdani is doing so well. It's not because his ideas are so great. That isn't the reason why he's doing so well. He's doing so well because he has answers. Most people have no idea whether you can have free buses or not. Some people don't even care about the free buses. Some people don't. But they do know one thing. When you ask Mamdani something, he gives you an answer. And they love that because no one else does. They just go, other guy bad. Well, I'm prepared to follow that model. When you ask me a question, I will give you an answer. When you have a problem, I will give you a policy. When you have an issue, I will tell you how we fix it. I won't just go, other guy bad. Now, are the other guys bad? Yes. They're really bad. It's true. They're bad. But that's not helpful for you. And that's the most important piece. It's not helpful. What is helpful is real answers. But there's something else. I've told you guys this many times. Every single policy you've ever heard me put out, every single idea I've ever spoken about, I've never, ever added any new taxation, any new fines, any new fees. It's always the same amount or less. And whenever possible, less. Not just that. Never have I added any extra enforcement. No extra police force. No extra inspector. No extra guy or gals going to come by and give you a ticket or a fine. Never. It's what we have or less. Giving people solutions and answers without making us pay more in some way, shape, or form. What people really want is answers. They want to find out how can we fix this. And what you see we do very well in New York State is more laws, more fines, more fees, more money, and nothing gets better. The number one issue we have to worry about here in New York State is people leaving our state. I will ask you now, is there anyone in this room who either is considering leaving or knows someone who's leaving? Yep, every hand in the air. As always, that's how it works. Someone's thinking about leaving, or is already leaving, or you know someone's about to leave. This has to stop. We're losing 300,000 New Yorkers every single year. They're gone. They're out, leaving. These are our family, our friends, people we know, our coworkers, these are businesses. They're out. We do that, but our budget keeps going up. How's that going to work? That can't work. That's happening right now. So what's left? Us here paying the price. There's a second piece we want to talk about. Pensions. There's a whole lot of people who've come to the state, worked in this state, earned their pension. Good for you. I'm glad you earned your pension. Awesome. I want you to spend it in this state. And too many of us aren't. They're taking their pension and they're heading to Florida. I'm seeing the heads nodding. And they're heading down to Tennessee. They're heading to Texas. About 40% of all the pension money that we're spending in New York State is going someplace else. That should be going right here. We should be spending those pensions here in New York State. They're leaving. We have to stop it. 4 issues we have to work on. We have to work on safety. We have to work on opportunity. We have to work on affordability and liberty. These are the 4 pieces we have to work on. We work on these 4, people will stay. They will come back. We'll watch it happen. I'll give you a couple things on affordability. One that I brought up in the past. Right now, across all of New York State, depending on where you are, the income tax is around 4%, depending on what city you are in that area, 4%. Could you imagine if we did something very simple? We said flat 4% across the state, and it goes down 0.5% every single year for 8 years down to 0. Bringing New York State down to a 0 income tax state. You might go, Larry, you're a libertarian. Just abolish the income tax. Well, I would love that, but that's not going to happen in the state. And the state is so indebted to both people and everything else, it couldn't happen anyway. But could we begin to lower it? Yes, we could. While we find other ways of raising money, not taxation to pay for goods and services and problems with the state, find our community that will come up and help up and support instead of having the state do it. Gives us 8 years to make that happen. We get down to a 0 income tax state. It provides hope for individuals, and every single New Yorker is getting a 0.5% raise every single year. Not a bad deal. Yes. We can copy that with businesses. Business tax across New York State is around 6%, depending on where you are. Make that a flat 6%. That goes down 0.5% every year for 8 years, down to 2%. Why 2%? Because one of the states who's growing very well right now is North Carolina. What's North Carolina's business tax? 2.5%. Lowest in the country. I was going to have 2%. We'll be under them. Businesses will stay. They will have hope. They will stay in this state. That's how we make it more affordable. That's how we make it. We have more opportunity here in this state. I'll go one step further. Right now, we need to treat our small businesses and our farmers in a very special way. If you're local, you should be special. If you're local, you should be special. What does that mean? If you are a farmer or a small business and you agree to sell only within New York State and not outside of it, you should be immune from all federal regulatory bodies. What does that mean? Now, local businesses have a chance to compete against the big boys. You got a shot. You can actually maybe get up there, get big, maybe decide to stay in New York State and never have to deal with that issue. If you're a farmer, well, maybe you can slaughter different than the big boys slaughter. That's going to help you out in a farm here upstate New York, right? Of course it is. Not just that, easier farm to table. Easier times when you're gonna put a retail shop or a wholesale shop on your farm. This now things get better. We can fix this. When it comes to liberty, one of the things that's harmed us tremendously in these last 5 years was the lockdowns. The lockdowns were devastating for us. They took our kids out of school. They took us out of our businesses. They forced people to do things they did not want to do. They made people flee. They did everything bad. I'm going to propose a constitutional amendment to the New York State Constitution to ban lockdowns no matter what. It must be a constitutional amendment to our Constitution. If it isn't, the governor would just go, emergency, and ignore the law. They'll just do it. What people don't realize is the lockdowns affected not just our movement. It affected our First Amendment rights. People think of First Amendment as, oh, it's freedom of speech. It is, but it's also freedom of religion, freedom to assemble, to petition the government, press. It's all those things. The lockdowns crushed all of that. They are unconstitutional, should never happen. We have to make sure it's done based upon the First Amendment to make sure that actually happens. That's critical. Yes. When it comes to safety, one of the biggest things we talk about, 2 parts I'll bring up. One is the Second Amendment, which is your ability to defend yourself, and the other is bail reform, which has been a disaster here in our state, and I'll cover both. Bail reform. Am I for the concept of bail reform? Absolutely. The idea of poor people being punished worse than other people who have status or stature is, of course, a terrible thing, and I want to make it better. But we did not do a good job of this in New York State at all. It was a disaster. It wound up harming far too many people and making things worse across the state. I want to rebuild the entire thing. But until we do that, it's a very simple, positive Band-Aid. We simply say bail reform is great for first-time offenders. First-time offenders, you don't get punished because you're poor, you made a mistake, you get a second shot. But if you look at the people who've been doing so much of the crime across this state, what do we find? Every single one of them is multiple offenders. Everyone. Not 99%, 100%. They're all multiple offenders. Guys have been arrested 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 times. My current mayor, Mayor Adams, what did he say? He said the average was 16. That's what he said. His words. The average of people who are arrested 16 times. That we have to change. We do that and then go back and actually fix bail reform to not punish poor people, but not to let people out in the streets who clearly should not be out in the streets. We can fix that. Second Amendment. In New York City and New York State, sadly, we have decided you are not allowed to defend yourself. I don't know why we've done that, but we have. The Second Amendment is very important in our state. We had a recent problem with a guy, by the way, you may know him, Dexter Taylor, out of Brooklyn. Awesome, you know. Yes, of course you know, Chris. Yes, of course you know, you know. Yes, you know very well. Right in your county. Dexter Taylor, for those who don't know, he's an engineer by trade. What did he do? He was deciding if he wanted to be a gunsmith or not. So he purchased gun parts legally on the internet with his credit card to see if he wanted to be a gunsmith. Someone in his building told on him that he had some gun parts. They kicked in his door in the middle of the morning, pulled him out, put him in jail. He is a black man with a young daughter, teenage daughter, and they put him away for 8 years. No, there was no victim. He didn't sell anything, no ammunition. There's no victim. They put him in jail because of Kathy Hochul's ghost gun law. That's why he's gone for 8 years. And that judge in her courtroom said these words. She said, the Second Amendment does not exist in my courtroom. So we have a New York State judge who said the Bill of Rights does not exist in her courtroom. And her punishment was nothing. Her punishment was nothing. That has to change. The Second Amendment is the Second Amendment. You have a right to defend yourself. If you want to carry a firearm to do so, you should be able to. If you don't want to, that's okay. It's a right, not a requirement. If you don't like guns, do what you want. Luckily, in New York City, you can carry nunchucks now. So if you want to defend yourself with nunchucks, please do so. And if you do it, please put it on YouTube. I want to see it. So if you do that, it'd be great. But how do we do it? How do we make it work now in New York State? Here's what you do. When I become governor, I will say there will be a blanket pardon for any firearm possession charge in New York State. If you have a firearm, it is by default pardoned because the Second Amendment says you may have one. Now, if you do something with that firearm, that can be a crime. Do you brandish it? Do you rob somebody? Do you do something with that firearm? That's the crime. Blanket pardon. What will that do? It will drive DAs nuts. They will go crazy. Wait a minute. We take all our money on possession crimes. I know. So now we have to reboot Second Amendment laws in New York State. Right now, there is no movement to reboot the Second Amendment laws at all. If anything, it's to make it harder. This will get it rocking and rolling. We'll move this forward. That's how we deal with opportunity. That's how we deal with affordability, safety, and liberty. Of course, there's a whole lot more. For you guys who care, you can go to LarrySharpe.com. If you want to support me and you like what I'm saying, I hope you do. There are many ways you can. Number one thing you can do, go to LarrySharpe.com/volunteer and volunteer. I need people across this state and across the country to help out. I need you to be my social media warriors if you don't live in New York State. But if you live in New York State, I need local county people to help me out. Let me know where things are, where are the events I should go to. Showing up as you all did tonight. I appreciate that. Showing up. Yes, I need all of those things. So please come and volunteer if you can. Second, I need you to do, if you're on social media, I need you to put my name everywhere. And I mean everywhere. Every podcast that you like, put, what about Larry Sharpe? Every show you watch, what about Larry Sharpe? Every single guy who's up there, X, what about Larry Sharpe? I need you putting my name everywhere. The more you put my name, people will see me. What is my biggest issue? Becoming legitimate. How do I become legitimate? People think about me. So the more you put my name out stuff, please do so. What about Larry Sharpe on every single thing? At me or whatever the case may be. Let people see what I'm doing so they will come by. Last thing, donations. Yes, this takes money. It does. I know it does. For those of you who are here, there are shirts in the back. If you want to grab a shirt, please take one. If you want to donate from it, please donate. If you can, it's awesome. Why does that matter? Because New York State has matching funds. It has matching funds. What does that mean? If I'm able to raise $500,000 from 5,000 New Yorkers at about $250 per clip, $250 per clip or less, $5 to $250, and I match $500,000, New York State will give me $3 million. With $3 million, this is a winnable race. This is literally a winnable race. That's not an exaggeration. That's the truth. It is a winnable race with that kind of money. I raised $500,000 both times I ran last time. We can do this again. It can be done. And I go one step further. We need cash so we can get on the ballot and so we can advertise to get those votes. We need both no matter what. We have to make this work. That's why I ask you to the best of your ability. You might say, Larry, you're asking a lot from me. I am. I'm asking you to show up. I'm asking you to give me time online, and I'm asking you for money. True, I'm asking you for all of those three. But those who know me know I have also given all of those three. My first run in 2018, the first thing I did was I wrote myself a check for $10,000. At the end of 2018's run, I was $100,000 in debt. At the end of 2022's run, which was a disaster for me, I was $40,000 in debt. I will be in debt again now because I don't work now. I do just this. So what I do, I'm a consultant. I don't have a job. If I'm not in front of people, I don't get paid. I will go into debt again. I will spend my time, my money, and my energy with you, with this state, trying to fix it. So yes, I am asking you for the same. I always say this if you ever watch me talk. I can't point my finger at you until I point my finger at myself first. And I like pointing my finger at you. I do. So I got to point my finger at myself a whole lot. I will give the time. I will give the money. I will give energy. I hope you will too. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate it. Thank you. Do I have any questions or comments? Yes, please.
Okay, so we get the percentages of people that vote.
Yep, percentage that vote. Yes.
You almost don't know what the election would look like if all the people eligible to vote actually voted.
I hope a lot of people vote. Yes.
You have a way, or do you think it's worthwhile to go after the people that don't vote?
Yes. Okay. Question is, those of you online, question, does it make sense to go after people who don't vote? Yes, 100%. And the issue is, people vote when they believe there is a chance of impact or some hope. That's when they vote. They then also make a second vote. They vote because, one, they see or meet me, or because you tell them to vote. That's why they do it. If I've given up and I've checked out, I don't do anything. I'm not going to do anything. I don't care. I'm not doing anything. Then Pietro says, no, go vote for Larry Sharpe. I like that guy. Then I go, fine, Pietro for you. Go, who's this Larry? What guy? Oh, I vote for him. That does happen. Or someone says, hey, go see this guy. Dr. Becker says, oh, go see this guy. And they come and see me and go, oh, that guy made sense. Okay. I shook that guy's hand. Okay, I'll vote for him. That happens often. The people who don't vote need that kind of nudge. They need, you know what? It makes sense. It matters. Oh, I'll do it for you. I wasn't going to do it anyway. The sad part is what I said earlier. So many New Yorkers have given up already. They've given up. So why bother voting? I'm just waiting till my elderly parent passes away before I leave. Or I'm waiting till my kid graduates before I leave. Or until I retire and get my pension before I leave. They're waiting for that. So yes, and yes, and that's how you do it. Great.
Thanks.
Go ahead.
I've got a question. I'm going to put aside. So the Republicans have been saying that 2026 is the year.
They have said that.
Going to win.
Yes.
Aren't you spoiling this for that?
That's a great question. Aren't I going to spoil it for those Republicans? Okay, let me be very clear about something. The Republican Party has not won any statewide election. Not AG, not senator, not governor, in 23 years. And the state is getting bluer, not redder. Those 300,000 people I said who are leaving, they don't love Kathy Hochul. They wouldn't be voting blue, the guys who are leaving. They'd be voting red, but they're leaving. So it's getting worse. It's almost 3-1 Democrat to Republican. In fact, there are more independents in New York State than non-Republicans. So the math doesn't math. It's not going to happen. And how do I know that? I am on record, on video. I said in 2022, I said the Republican will lose by between 5 and 7 points. Some of you remember me saying that. I said it publicly. He lost by 6. I know this state very well. I know how this works and how people are thinking. I know the people who don't vote. I've met many of them. There is zero chance of a Republican winning a statewide election in New York State. Can they win locally? Yes. If you like your local Republican, they can win. They win often. Locally, Republicans can win. Statewide, they cannot win. Now, is this a trend? It is. For those who don't know, in Nebraska and Utah, it's the opposite. It's heavily Republican and very few Democrats. They did not, the Democrats did not run a candidate for U.S. Senate. The Senate. They didn't bother running a candidate last cycle, Utah and Nebraska. Didn't bother. Because they can't have no chance of victory. They can't raise enough money. Republicans are 2 cycles from that here. Republicans are 2 cycles of being, why bother running anyone? We can't when we can't raise money. They're 2 cycles from that, and they're living in delusion. This state will go gold before it will go red. And I know that to be true because there was internal polling done by Republicans in both my last 2 races. They didn't share this polling with me, of course, but people who were in the campaigns later shared that with me. Over 30% of the people who voted for me were registered Democrats. So I know Democrats vote for me. I get Democrats, I get Republicans, and I get independents and people who wouldn't vote. There are many times people have seen it. If you've been around me, people say, I registered to vote just for you. Happens often. Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Any other questions or comments? Go ahead.
Well, it's interesting because you've said, they're bad.
Yep.
If you go on the Republicans, Stefanik's.
Yep. Stefanik's. Yep.
However you pronounce her name.
Yep.
The only thing she says, in her whole thing.
Yep.
On Facebook site.
Yep.
Anyways, is how bad Hochul is.
That's it. The Republican Party in New York State does only one thing. Hochul bad, more cops.
Yeah.
That's it. That's
Solutions whatsoever.
no solutions at all. Correct. Which is why, this is why we have Mamdani in New York City. For that reason. That is the reason why. Guys, thank you so much for coming out. I appreciate it. Grab some shirts if you want. Thank you all. Thank you all.